that you need to behave like you're the one that has the disease, that you may be in danger of affecting your loved ones. So please pay attention to where you're going, what you're doing, wash your hands constantly, and just help us help our community. Thank you.
I'm George Credikas with the City of Clearwater. On behalf of the city, I want to thank the county for what it's doing to make sure that we address this problem right away. It's a temporary inconvenience, but it is worth it for the healthy lifestyle that we have become accustomed to. This is an unprecedented time in the history of our country and of the world, and we have got to work together to bring this pandemic to an end.
Good afternoon, everybody. I'm Pinellas County Sheriff Bob Gualtieri. Yesterday, the Board of County Commissioners took bold action to provide for a safer Pinellas County and asked everybody that can stay home to do so. Also, in balancing that there are some things that need to go on and being very, very aware, very cognizant of the impact and the significant impact that this health crisis is having on our community, and the moms and the dads that aren't getting a paycheck, those who need to put food on the table for their kids, and that the economic considerations to the individuals. And so what the Board of County Commissioners did in this bold action was to stay home if you can. If you run an essential business, then go ahead. And if it's not an essential business and you can, I can't stress this enough, and you can comply with the CDC guidance, and that means no crowds. That means keeping people 6 feet apart. Then you can, in a limited fashion, continue to operate your business so that your employees can keep that paycheck and continue, frankly, just to put food on the table for their kids. But make no mistake, we're not playing around with this. This is very serious. And as I said yesterday, we need all of these business owners to help us help them. And if they don't take it seriously and they don't adhere, and if you don't keep that distance and keep that space, then it could get worse. And the county commission could very well, and rightfully so, make a decision to just shut everything down because people aren't doing what is required of them. We don't want it to get to that point, but if need be, we will. We began, after the board issued its order yesterday, we began preparing for today. And starting at 9 o'clock this morning, 200 deputy sheriffs, along with police officers from the city of Clearwater and city of St. Petersburg and Tarpon Springs, began distributing. We had already printed 14,000 notices that are required to be posted on the front doors of retail establishments. This is the notice that is being posted on all these retail establishment doors throughout Pinellas County. On top of that, we have a frequently asked question sheet, and each one of these businesses will be given a frequently asked question sheet. This will be available also on the county website, on the sheriff's website, other governmental entities' websites, so if people ask questions, that they can have those questions answered. Another thing to keep in mind with this is that all the pools in Pinellas County are closed. They are shut down under this order from the Board of County Commissioners. So unless it's a single family residence pool, that means hotels, that means apartment complexes, that means condo complexes, etc., shut down. It also means that golf courses, as an example, they can continue to operate, but they need to clean the carts after every use. They need to have sanitizing wipes for the poles at the individual holes. They need to take those steps, and they need to keep people separated. Another consideration for this beyond the pools and the golf courses, those businesses that are going to operate, and I can't stress this enough, is there are some that we have some heightened concern about, and heightened concern about whether they can and they will adhere to these regulations and to this really what is a law and has force of law behind it. So one of the businesses that's here behind us that we're going to go up and we're going to talk to them and we're going to post this sign is a hair salon. Is that if they have 10 chairs in a hair salon, you can't occupy all 10 chairs. If you have 10 chairs in your waiting room, you better not have 10 people sitting in that waiting room, because you better figure out a way to space it out. And if you got 10 chairs, maybe 2 or 3, and maybe 1 or 2 people waiting. But if you don't adhere to this, then an option would be is that we take enforcement action, we shut down that business, and if it's prevalent enough, the Board of County Commissioners is going to come back and act, and they're just going to shut everybody down. So to avoid that, we need your help. We need your cooperation. We need everybody to step up. Pinellas County is not locked down. We're getting a lot of questions about that. People can go about their business, but it needs to be out of necessity. If you can stay home, do so. By all accounts, is that we have not reached the peak of this, and we have not reached the floor. And until we reach the floor with the effect of the virus, we haven't reached the floor as far as the response. So it's fluid, it's changing all the time, it's changing every day. But again, to the community and to the people of Pinellas County, we feel your pain. We're here with you. But we also have to be responsible, and we have to act in a way that looks out for the greater good of the community, and that's what the Board of County Commissioners did yesterday. That's what the Clearwater City Council did when they acted previously, is for the greater good of the community as a whole, and everybody needs to step up. Anybody that's thinking, this isn't going to happen to me, this isn't going to happen here, and I'm not going to abide by this, all that's not true. And all you're doing is potentially harming yourself, your families, and others. So please work with us on this to the community. Please do the right thing, and please abide by the order of the Board of County Commissioners that they issued yesterday. So I'm going to step back. If you have any questions for any of us who are here, please direct them to the individual you have a question for. And then when the questions are finished, we'll walk up to these couple businesses. I'm going to post one at one of the businesses, and Chief Slaughter will do the other one.
Sheriff, when you're out and about today and throughout the next week enforcing this, what is it going to take for one of your deputies to intervene? What will they see that will, because you're not just going to be pulling over random people.
So make no mistake, okay, and this is, your question really gets to the heart of some of the confusion that's out there, is that there is no mandatory lockdown, no mandatory stay at home. We're asking people to stay at home at this juncture. Now, it could go to that if people don't comply. So there's no pulling anybody over, okay, because they're out on the street. If you don't have a necessity and you don't have business being out there, then please voluntarily adhere to this. But if somebody has to go do something, do it, but do it safely, do it smartly, do it the way that is going to be safe, and that is the distancing and no groups, and if you have to have one-on-one contact, but try not to. So that's not going to happen where somebody's going to get stopped. Look at Gulf to Bay, look at US 19, look at where we are here. You see all these cars. And I hope that people are out here because they have to be, because they need to be. But the premise of your question is not where we are.
Sheriff, you said that you're worried about some businesses in particular. Which ones?
Well, a lot of those service businesses, I'll tell you that that group in that category of hair salons, nail salons, barber shops, those kinds of things are of particular concern. Those that ordinarily have people in close proximity. Some of the stores that have people in close proximity where they are not adhering to the spacing in the lines. And quite honestly, we're seeing that in some of the grocery stores and some of the stores that are behind us like Lowe's, is people need to spread out. Bookstores. It's not business as usual, and it shouldn't be business as usual. You shouldn't go to the Starbucks within the Barnes & Noble and you can't sit down, so you get your cup to go, and then you're standing next to 15 people in the aisle reading books. You want to read a book, get the book and go home. And if you need to stand there next to somebody, space out. Don't be standing next to each other. And those are the kinds of things that if people want to keep doing this the way we are, they need to do it better as opposed to have everything shut down. And you know, like I said, it could get to that. We're trying to do this in a reasonable way. We're trying to do this in a way that is respectful, but also ensures public safety. So those are the kinds of businesses in the kinds of situations that right now are giving us the greatest concern. Another thing we saw last weekend is that the city of Clearwater and the county closed the beaches. So what do we see? We see all these people on the spoil islands, we see all these people on the sandbars, we see these people at hotel pools and condo pools and apartment pools. What do you not get? Don't squeeze the balloon and then force us to act. So again, help us help you.
You mentioned bookstores. They came up a lot yesterday in that meeting. Did I miss it? What was the one in particular where everybody
Well, there's a bunch of them. Go look at the parking lots, they're full. Go walk inside, as I did, and you see people looking down those aisles and they're all standing next to each other with their Starbucks coffee cup in their hand like it's a month ago. It's not. Do it differently. Those are the kinds of things that are unsafe for the community. And remember, we have not, by all accounts, by all of the epidemiologists and the doctors and the local health department director and Dr. Cho and everything that we have a conference call every morning on, and he stresses, we have not seen the peak of this yet. So we want to make sure that when this thing does peak, that Pinellas County's numbers don't peak.
Sheriff, your violator tip line, should people call that if they see people breaking CDC guidelines out in public, like parks, beaches, or is it just for businesses?
Well, we're primarily concerned with is the businesses. They're welcome to call. We're going to log all the calls, and we will act and react accordingly to what the information is. But we wanted to provide people with a mechanism for reporting violations, and we're going to take those seriously. We're going to have enforcement teams throughout the county. We're going to have teams in the north part of the county, the center part of the county, the south part of the county, and know that we are going to respond to these. So if somebody sees, as an example, use it as a hair salon, and every chair is occupied, and the waiting area is full, then the conversation is going to be is, what do you not get? We can do this the easy way or the hard way. If you want to do it the hard way, we'll do it the hard way, but get on board with this. We're going to try, and I know that if necessary, the county administrator is prepared to issue shutdown orders, and if it's broader non-compliance, then we're going to have to consider, and I know the Board of County Commissioners will consider broader and more sweeping changes. I can't stress it enough, and I'll say it for the 10th time. We don't want to get to that, but we're prepared to do it if we have to. We just want everybody to. But these compliance teams will be out there. And this tip line is going to operate from 7 o'clock in the morning till 11 o'clock at night, 7 days a week. And we'll have people there that take those calls, and supervisors in there will convey it to the compliance teams that are out on the street, and they'll take them on a case-by-case basis as to how they handle it.
Sheriff, can you talk a little bit more about the compliance team and the resources? Is it going to take away from deputies in their normal duties?
No, remember, and it's a good thing right now, is that, like I said, I put 200 deputies out on the street this morning to deliver these notices, is that the courts are shut down, so we've got deputies that are ordinarily in court security. All the school resource officers are out of school. So we're fortunate that personnel is not a problem right now to get this done, which is a good thing, and they will be out there, and they'll be out there in numbers, making sure we have compliance.
Sheriff, this is for you and Barry. What are you both doing here not essential?
So the order doesn't affect governmental entities. I can tell you, and I can let the county administrator speak to it if he wants to, I can tell you that right now we have in the sheriff's office, and it's primarily because of travel with a few people that have symptoms, we have 102 people as of this morning that are out on home quarantine. And because we're taking it very seriously, we're screening people that come into the 911 center. They're being asked questions, their temperatures are being taken. We're doing it in the EOC. We're likely going to begin it here soon at the jail with the jail employees. And so we're taking steps. And so if people don't want to be there, they want to take leave, and they can. But again, in our positions that we have, is that we're essential, and we have 24/7 coverage that needs to happen. And as we respond to this and let people go, we have to do it in a fair and consistent way as well. So we do have people out, but we have not shut down any components of the sheriff's office. Do you want to talk to that at all?
In terms of county operations, we've taken a number of steps to modify our operations. Most of our counter-based operations have ceased to where you have drop-off. We do things by phone now versus in person. So most of the areas do not have customer contact. But again, just like the sheriff's office, we have many areas. Your water and your sewer need to continue to flow. There are many different types of critical functions. Our 911, safety and emergency services, and various operations like that need to continue. The sheriff mentioned the testing we're doing to make sure that we don't infect groups that are first responders and providers. We have to make sure that they're safe. So we're taking precautionary measures within our own operations, and again, having more people work from home and do the things that we're asking the public to do also.
Sheriff, would it make your job easier if the governor just came out and said, look, stay at home order 2 weeks or a month?
No, I don't think so. I support the governor's position on this. I think that when you look at it, there still are a whole bunch. And the last I checked, there was close to 20 Florida counties that have no reported cases. Broward County is not Bradford County. Miami-Dade County is not Madison County. And you got a whole big state with a whole lot of different things happening. And I think that it's a big decision. It's a huge decision. I think, like all of us, he's struggling with what is the right thing to do in totality. I think that local control is always a good thing and important, and on an individual case-by-case basis, counties and cities can act, and hopefully regions would act. But we couldn't get that done here in this region consistently. But no, I don't think so. I think it's fine the way it is, and at this juncture at least. And remember, with the number of cases that we have statewide, this is, thank goodness, this isn't New York, and this isn't some of those other places. We don't want it to get there. But it's fluid and things change. But right now, I support Governor DeSantis' position on this.
Sheriff, is there anything you need that you don't have right now?
Yeah, there's a lot of things that are needed generally. I can tell you as far as we are concerned, as far as the Sheriff's Office is concerned, we're okay. But where we're not okay as a whole in this response is with test kits and the personal protective equipment for the medical professionals. And I know that that's a huge issue. I don't know that there's a solution on the horizon to that. And that's the biggest area that I would say where there's a need operationally is with the PPE or personal protective equipment and the test kits. But we've got right now in the jail, the population is down considerably. We've got the equipment, and I can tell you that as of this morning, that there is not one case of coronavirus reported in one county jail in 67 counties in Florida. We want to keep it that way. If that were to happen in our jail or another jail, the tide could change because we would be burning through all of that equipment that we have. So right now we're in good shape, and we hope it stays that way.
Can you talk about the compliance teams? How many on a team? How many teams overall?
So there's going to, and we're still working through that. The big initiative this morning is to get these posters out, to get them posted on the doors, and to get the call center activated and stood up, which we've done. We've got 18 people in the call center, so nobody's going to have a trouble getting through and getting their call answered. As far as the compliance teams, there will probably be 3 or 4, and probably 4 to 5 people on a team throughout the county.
Sheriff, I've noticed the arrests have dramatically gone down, like you've asked officers to use their discretion. Have you seen an uptick in domestic violence, people staying home at all, or anything like that yet?
No, I did an analysis of it. I asked our strategic planning section to do an analysis in the last couple of days on that. And for the first 3 weeks of March compared to the first 3 weeks of March of last year, we're only up by about 15, and that's insignificant. So we're not seeing any big uptick in domestic violence calls or any other calls for that matter.
Would you be saying this in St. Petersburg, or is it just Clearwater and just county municipalities?
St. Petersburg is part of Pinellas County. They're not an island. And this is going to be throughout the entire county, from the Manatee County line to the Pasco County line, from the Gulf Beaches to the Hillsborough County line. And we will be posting these notices and ensuring compliance throughout the entire Pinellas County. Anybody have any questions for anybody else?
Commissioner Gerard, can I ask you a quick question? How do you think the beach closure has been going? Are you still sticking with April 6th? The safer on Pinellas seems like it's a longer ended than the beaches.
Well, we'll be back reviewing the beach closure. I'm sure that we will extend it, actually, but especially based on what happened last weekend. As the sheriff said, people were just going offshore, and that's not the point. That's not going to help at all if they do that. So, at some point these will all be wrapped in together and will probably be in place for as long as we have the emergency order in place.
So. At what point will you sit down with the sheriff or entities and say, okay, this is what we're doing with the safer at home, this is working or this is not working? When will you make that decision?
You know what, we do that every morning. We talk to each other every morning, and they talk to each other all day long. So, when it comes that time, we'll all know it, and we'll all gracefully get out of this thing and return to our normal. So,
can you clarify about the pools? Sheriff, you mentioned about pools, that people sort of flock to them once the beaches got closed. Are they still open?
So, no, I'm going to say it again, is that every single pool in Pinellas County is closed unless it's a single-family residence pool. So if you own your own home and you got a pool in your backyard, then that is not closed, of course. But anything else, whether it's at a hotel, whether it's at an apartment complex, a condo complex, public pools, country club pools, anything that is not in somebody's single private home, backyard, pool-wise, by the order yesterday, is closed.
Does that include tennis courts?
No, tennis courts are not closed, but again, people need to practice appropriate social distancing and not having that contact. So there would be no reason, just like golf courses are not closed. as long as the operators of the golf courses and the users of the golf course adhere to the requirements. So what we don't want to see is multiple people on a golf cart breathing all over each other. The golf carts aren't cleaned after they're used and they're passed on to somebody else. You got a whole bunch of people touching the holes touching the poles on the holes and not practicing effective sanitary practices, then that'll be a problem. But as long as they're doing that, you want to play tennis? Play tennis. You want to go for a walk? Go for a walk. You want to play golf, as long as it's done within these parameters, then you're not going to have a problem. But again, if people don't do it the right way, then we're going to have to consider other things. Because, again, this has not peaked. And as we move through the next couple of weeks, we don't want to see those numbers in Pinellas County rise. Anybody have anything else? So we'll move now, and you all can let us know. We'll kind of walk slow so you all can get set up. The first business here will